I am Dr. S. Jenny Angel, Assistant Professor, Department of Biochemistry. In this video session, we will be discussing about fungal food poisoning. So, these are the learning objectives, and at the end of this video, you will be able to understand the structural features, the mode of transmission, pathogenesis and prevention of aflatoxins. So, what is food poisoning? Food poisoning, it is an illness which is caused because of ingestion of contaminated food which contains microorganisms and preformed toxin. And what is this contamination? This contamination can be because of bacteria and fungi, and in this video we are going to discuss about fungal food poisoning. There are several species of fungi, and out of these species, three important species, that is Aspergillus, Penicillium and Rhizopus. Aspergillus, Penicillium and Rhizopus, they cause the most potent mycotoxins and cause most of the food poisoning. This is the image showing the Rhizopus, and that is Penicillium, and that is Aspergillus. In Rhizopus, you can see you have the hypha and a filamentous structure, and then it ends in a sac-like structure which is known as sporangium, which encloses the spores. Similarly, in Penicillium Aspergillus, in both the cases also you can observe for presence of spore. So, these are spore formers, and these spore formers they are resistant to high temperature and all the food processing techniques. So, because of this unique nature, you can these spores, they are present in the food items, mainly the cereals and grains, and when they are present for a longer duration, they produce this mycotoxin and cause food poisoning. So, the toxic substance which is being produced by fungi is known as mycotoxin, and the infection is known as mycotoxosis. So, this is the general feature of mycotoxin. Mycotoxins, they are low molecular weight components which are toxic both to human as well as in animals. So, they mainly cause food poisoning. Other than that, they also cause cancer. It has teratogenic property. What is this teratogenic property? It can affect the embryo growth and fetal growth. So, these are the main source of infection, mainly the cereals and grains like wheat, rice, sorghum, and spices like black pepper, green chilies, nuts like walnut and peanut. So, this is the structure of aflatoxin. Aflatoxin is nothing but it is also a mycotoxin which has been produced by Aspergillus species. So, mainly Aspergillus flavus and Aspergillus parasiticus, it produces this aflatoxin. So, this is the structural feature of aflatoxin, and this aflatoxin, it has been classified into 6 types: B1, B2, M1, M2 and G1 and G2. Out of these, this B1 and M1, they are the most potent mycotoxin which produces lethal condition. So, coming to the mode of action, they can dysregulate the DNA synthesis, transcription as well as protein synthesis. So, here in this you can see that aflatoxin B, it affects the modifies the DNA template, thereby it inhibits the DNA replication process. It also impairs the transcription process by binding with RNA polymerase, and it also prevents the translation process. In turn, it prevents the protein synthesis, and it can also bind directly with the coenzymes and enzymes, and thereby it will alter the metabolic reactions. So, this is the image showing the pathogenesis. So, here you can see that the food contains, here you can see that the food, it has been contaminated with the mycotoxin, and by ingestion, when you ingest that contaminated food, it enters into the liver, and in the liver this mycotoxin, it dysregulates the DNA, RNA and protein synthesis, and from there by means of enterohepatic circulation it enters the bloodstream, and through the bloodstream it reaches the other tissues wherein it accumulates, and it causes inflammatory lesions and immune disbalance. So, the symptoms, food poisoning can be mild symptoms, it can also lead to lethal conditions. Mild symptoms include fever, headache, stomach pain and diarrhea, and in certain cases it can also be lethal wherein the patient will die. And you have to follow proper treatment. The treatment includes the supportive therapy where patient will be given fluid intake. Prevention, you have to boil the food item properly, and one important factor to be considered is that you have to separate the raw meat from the other food. That is very important. You can prevent this food poisoning, and you have to you should avoid eating spoiled foods. You should avoid eating spoiled foods. So, washing is an hygienic process wherein you have to wash your hands as well as wash all the fruits and vegetables using clean water. So, various detective measures have been available like bioassay methods like cytological assay method, skin test method, culture method like dilution plating method and direct plating method, immunoassay method, molecular identification method like RT-PCR, RF-LP, DGGE and LAMP assay and DNA microassay. So finally, if you follow an integrated management program in the food chain, starting from the harvesting point up to the storage and transportation process, if you maintain proper hygienic condition, you will be able to prevent this food poisoning. Especially if you remove physically, if you remove the dust and broken grains, you can reduce the mycotoxin contaminated materials, and by following good agriculture practices and good manufacturing practices, you can prevent this food poisoning. So these are the frequently asked questions. So these are the reference where you can use for further reference. Thank you.